My life is so drastically different than it was 1 year ago from today. And that was all my doing. Today we're going to talk about how these things changed my life. I need people to think I'm smart. I don't think I'm smart, so I need it. You've been in a place where people don't speak your language, and then you get in a place where they do. It feels like you haven't been like alive before that point. You can want to lose weight and still love your body. If you're in a job you don't like, on a path you don't like, can you find a corner of it, even if it's like beyond your job description, that brings you a little bit more joy and fulfillment? I bet you can. 80 to 85% of my brain was thinking about food all the time. I would eat to the point of feeling so much discomfort and really uncomfortably full. Anyway, I'm like, hi, this is gay. A lot of it at the beginning is objective experimentation. And I'm gonna help you elevate your experience of being a grown-up by talking about the really unsexy parts of it. We're just gonna do it. Should we just do it? Okay, Todd Squad, today we're having a play date with me on my couch. We're having a play date with myself because I think that the experience you all are going to have listening to future play dates is going to be better if you know who the F I am and what I'm about and how I got here. And more than that, I want to start by saying, like, you know, those podcasts and Instagram reels and bits and clips that give you like inspiration and momentum and the feel goods and the power to feel like you can change your life? Well, my life is so drastically different than it was 1 year ago from today. And that was all my doing and rewiring my brain and making choices to get me there. So I'm hoping that by me telling you the mess ups and the fails and the choices and the leavings and the goings and the comings and the coming outs, see what I did there? It's going to help you feel better in your life. And if you're not feeling good in your life right now, just know that that's not permanent and you're going to be able to fix it. And I hope that my story can inspire you and help you wherever you are in your path, because today we're going to talk about how these things changed my life, to name many more, but these were a few of them. We've got a Manjaro pen, we've got the Artist's Way. We're going to talk about both of them. So without further ado, as I used to say at ABC News, let's get into it. I'm taking you guys back to the beginning with a capital B. And by that, I mean Chicago. City, not suburbs, nothing against the suburbs. Lincoln Park, okay? I am the oldest of three girls. Shout out Liv and Jude. I live with my sister, my middle one. We're best friends. And parents are divorced, very close with both of them. They have a really good working relationship, which I know is not always the case. So I'm like incredibly grateful for that. And in Chicago, I would say as a kid, as a smaller toddler, any stage that I could find, I was on it. Shocker. I was dancing, I was performing, I would go to the Ringling Brothers Circus over Thanksgiving and come home and do the entire performance in a leotard front to back. Like, whenever I saw someone take up space on a stage, there was this feeling in me of like, that is what I'm meant to do. And that is how I'm meant to connect with people, and that is how I'm meant to feel fulfilled, okay? I am ultra feminine. Pink is my favorite color. I'm wearing bows. I'm matching with my sisters until we're like way too old to be matching. My mom used to make us match to go on the plane, and like we'd like run into someone at O'Hare, and it would be so fucking embarrassing because I'd be in like tights and a J. Crew dress, and I'd be like, hi, I'm literally 16 and I have blue braces, but I'm matching with my 8-year-old sister. But I guess some parents like to do that. And the truth is, I'm probably going to make my future children match. So it sucked then, but, you know, it's good to look back on the pictures. I went to a K through 12 prep school, the Latin School of Chicago. That was great, and I was so lucky to receive the education that I did. I think where it was tough for me and my learning style was that it was very STEM focused. It was there's kind of one way to be smart. And me being this creative and performer, and I loved creative writing, and I loved stories and movies and plays, I never felt like seen and heard from a really young age. On top of that, I had really slow processing, particularly with math and science. And so I was in this program called Learning Resources from a pretty young age, like from third grade. With that, I had a therapist, or I called it a feelings doctor, before having a feelings doctor was a thing. It was very early to the therapy game, very early to the self-improvement game. But that created a lot of internalized shame and self-doubt and a lot of feelings of like, I'm not smart, I'm not good enough. Just constantly that was like repeating in my brain, honestly, since like middle school. And because of that, I think that I became a really hard worker from a young age. Because to get that A on the math test, I had to study for 2.5 hours, not, 30 minutes like everyone else. We're now in high school, okay? I am honestly boy crazy, okay? We're kissing everyone. Well, we're keeping it classy, but we're kissing the cute boys. We're doing school. I'm dancing. I'm doing some plays. And I'm feeling at that point connected to myself as any, 17, 18-year-old can be. I will also say that growing up in Chicago, which I stand by, breeds the kindest, most genuine people, like Midwestern values 100%. However, this career in entrepreneurship and entertainment, in having a creative, kooky, out of the box idea and making it a thing that makes money, was not modeled for me. So I didn't know that existed. And that mattered because when I inched closer to the college process, there had kind of been external voices and internal ones of like this whole acting performance thing. You're gonna have to mold it into something else because like that's not gonna be lucrative. That's not a career path. That's just not gonna be like a thing for you. So, and the reason I wasn't a child actor, which personally for me, I'm so glad I was not, because I would have been too obsessed with the external validation, to be quite honest with you. And the reason I wasn't is because a coach said to my mom, like, she shouldn't do this yet, even though she has it. And I'm so grateful for that, because I think there were moments when I was starting back up again of like, oh my God, why didn't I do this since I was, 10? But looking back, I feel like the reason I didn't do it then was because I had to work out all this shit first. And I wasn't as sure of myself, and I wasn't living in my truth. Without sounding annoying, I wasn't. And that has taught me also to like really trust the timing of your life. Because if it doesn't make sense now, it will make sense to you in a month, in 5 months, or even in 5 years. You will look back and understand why that person broke your heart. You will understand why you didn't get that job. You will understand why this person did this to you or that or this. You can be upset for an hour or a week, okay, about your circumstances, about why things are the way they are, why you have that diagnosis, why you have that relationship with your parents, with your boyfriend, with your girlfriend, with your job. But at a certain point, complaining about it just doesn't actually move anything anywhere. So the biggest advantage I've learned is to accept, okay, this is my situation. What can I do about it? This is what's out of my control. This is what's in my control. And I'm going to take you through multiple scenarios where I did exactly that and got the outcome that I wanted. Okay, so we're back in high school. We're kissing boys. We're dancing. I say, okay, I am going to, what do I love? What am I good at? Okay. I like talking to people. I like acting. I like performing. I like dancing. I like being on a stage. I like writing. I like human connection. We're going to morph that up, tie it in a knot, and slap it on journalism. Because journalism is smart. And if I'm a journalist, I will be respected as a storyteller. And oh my God, I need people to think I'm smart. I don't think I'm smart. So I need it. I need people to think I'm smart. I think some of the best journalists that I know, and I know many, were the 8-year-old glued to CNN or reading their, dad's New York Times subscriptions, or moms, you don't want to be sexist. You know what I mean. when they were a kid and just like wanted the information and they wanted to investigate and they wanted to figure out why this case was that, that outcome and not the other one. That wasn't me. Like I told you guys, I was going to a Broadway show, coming home, trying to perform it with my sister in my parents' bedroom. So that's been another moment of looking back and being like, okay, so that wasn't my truth as a kid. And it's not my truth now, that type of storytelling. But at the ripe age of 17, I would have done anyone for anything's approval, anytime, anywhere. And so that's what I did. I marketed myself to colleges as a storyteller because that is what I have always been. That is what I will always be. And I was accepted to USC's journalism program, which is and was and will forever be incredible. And I always say to my professors and fellow alumni from there, like, everything I'm doing is because of that place. So fight on is what I'm saying. But I went and, for the first time in my life, I felt smart because the homework assignments and the lectures and the classes and the things people were raising their hand about, it was like speaking my language. And if you know that feeling of when you've been in a place where people don't speak your language and then you get in a place where they do, it feels like you haven't been like alive before that point. People talk about like big fish, small pond, okay? And that was what my high school was. There were, I was going on dates with, or honestly, I was not going on dates. He was not texting me back. If you know, you know. But I was, kissing and going out with, my friends and boys and whatever. But I got to a place like USC where everyone was a blonde Barbie beyond words. And for the first time, I started to really think about my appearance in a different way. And it made me realize how much people led with their appearance. Was I leading with my looks? I didn't want to do that. But also I wasn't getting the same male attention, quite honestly, that I was in high school. And that was a weird thing for me. It was. This is going to lead to my coming out, obviously. But I wasn't at college. At the same time, I am built very, like, I was like the kid that's like a string bean. Like, I never had an ounce of fat on my body until I hit puberty, which might sound annoying to say, but it was just my body. It was the truth. And I was a late bloomer, as they say. I got my period when I was like 16. So the boobs were coming in. I like prayed every night for big boobs, got them way too big, had to get a reduction. So careful what you wish for, okay? And really was hitting puberty like my freshman year of college, which, if you know, that's like not really a fun time to be gaining additional weight. So as I am like pouring myself into the journalism school and building this identity as like Ella the reporter, I'm like putting on a fair amount of weight. And I'm not realizing it because I had always been pretty confident, to be honest. And so at that time, simultaneously, I'm getting kind of uncomfortable in my body, but I'm not realizing it. And I want to caveat and say, this is not a commentary on one size of, a bigger body's bad, a smaller body's good. Absolutely not. This is my story, my truth, with help from my doctors, which we will get into, and that's it, okay? And I'm sharing it because when I was going through this journey, there was no one talking about this. And I want to talk about it so that I can help you if you're on this journey. Anyway, but I'm not a medical professional, blah, 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 blah. I'm not. I'm just not, okay? I'm not. I don't like medicine. I faint when I get my blood drawn. Anyway, had a boyfriend, long distance, like we broke up, whatever, then it's COVID. And the weight didn't stop gaining. That was the experience for so many people in COVID. And also on the body front, I think we were in an age and a time of like body positivity, which was great, okay? Like I cannot imagine growing up when my mom grew up in the, 70s, 80s and this and that and no carbs, like horrible. However, extreme of anything is bad, in my opinion. And we got into this age of body positivity where if you wanted to lose weight, it was a bad thing. And it meant you didn't love your body. And I'm here to tell you that that is not true. That is not true. Are there people that are promoting weight loss or that want to lose weight or promoting skinny culture? That is a bad thing, 100%. But that's like saying, are there people who have platforms like I do that are promoting misinformation or, having on guests that they don't morally agree with? 100%. That's not what I'm doing. So in any space, there's going to be people doing it wrong or not doing it in a way that you agree with. But that doesn't mean there can be multiple things that are true. You can lose weight and still love your body. You can want to lose weight and still love your body. You can lose weight and want to lose weight and not be anorexic. As I'm in this journalism school, I'm getting a ton of positive reinforcement. I'm now known as the journalism kind of queen, okay? Which was what my validation needed to feel safe and secure because I didn't have it internally. I needed it externally constantly. So then we go to COVID and we go home and I kind of started to think about, okay, this is a rat race and I'm in this, time of broadcast journalism but is the way I'm being trained to tell the story going to resonate on a TV? In a scripted A block, B block, C block way. And there was a little voice in my head saying this isn't the right path for you. This isn't the way you want to tell stories. If you go work at one of these major networks, which I did, you are going to have to turn the volume down on who you really are to be appropriate enough for this network. And I was that's not right for you. You don't want to be limited. You don't want to be put in a box. And this is a common reality of working in corporate America, 100%. But I also think with social media, the times are changing and people want to see real people talking about real shit because we can comb through what's inauthentic. So I'm thinking about that a lot. I also realized that there was a pressing mental health epidemic on campus. We had 9 student deaths in 2.5 months, fall of 2019. I was we have to do something about this. So with another student who's amazing, shout out Dan Toomey, we started the mental health and wellness desk in our media center. And that was when I found this corner of reporting that I was super passionate about and it lit me up. And that's another thing I would say is if you're in a job you don't like, on a path you don't like, can you find a corner of it, even if it's beyond your job description, that brings you a little bit more joy and fulfillment? I bet you can. I know you're wired to think you can't, but I bet you can. And it will make the day-to-day more enjoyable, maybe as you figure out another job. So reporting brought me lots of joy. I'm back from COVID, and I am realizing, with help from my family, that I have a real habit of emotional eating. And what is emotional eating, you might ask? For me, it manifested as binge eating and not throwing up afterwards, but feeling an emotion, feeling a sadness, a loneliness, even in a reward capacity, doing something good, rewarding myself with food. And I would eat. And I would eat to the point of feeling so much discomfort and really uncomfortably full. And it would be a cycle, right? Boy doesn't text me back, ice cream, chips. Okay, well, I just had 1 Oreo. I need to have 10. It was also constantly thinking about food. I bet that 80 to 85% of my brain was thinking about food all the time. And I remember when I had the real moment of I have a problem, which was with my friend Daisy in junior year of college. And we went to a Target because it was COVID, we were bored, and we got some snacks. And then we also picked up Pinkberry. And she was okay, let's eat it when we get home. And I was no. I was super upset about something. I don't remember what it was. And we sat in the Target parking lot in Manhattan Beach. and I like fully ate like everything we bought, the whole pinkberry. Honestly, I couldn't talk about it for years because it made me like really sick to think about. And I remember afterwards, like if you have ever had a history with binging, you know the shame that comes after a binge. And I remember sitting there and just being like, this is not normal. This is not healthy. I don't want to feel like this anymore. I don't want to hate my body like this anymore. Like, this is really gross. But you also have to remember that I still thought, well, I can't lose weight because I don't need to lose weight. I'm body positive. I love my body. I go to SoulCycle. Also, I've gone to SoulCycle at every size, through every stage, which is why I say what you want about it. Like, it has been kind of a North Star for me, and it always has been there for me, and like, find your thing that's there for you. It's also how I found out I was gay, but we're going to get to that in a second. Anyway, so COVID, home, I'm realizing the emotional eating patterns. I started seeing a nutritionist for a year, or that was a year later, but where we worked on like changing habits and writing things down and all these things. The physical weight that I was carrying was blocking me from really knowing my true self. I'm trying to tell like so many different stories at the same time, so I really hope it's not confusing. I'm just kind of like telling you my life story. Getting close to college graduation, I have this voice in my head of like, okay, Ella, I don't think news is for you, babe. I had that voice, and I was like, I don't know if I should work in a talent agency or in, be an actor. What's happening? Did not take one acting class at USC, not one. And they have an amazing dramatic arts program. Did not take one class. And I was like, no, Ella, I care too much about what people think. I want the structure. I want the certainty of journalism. Guess what? There is none. The structure that you think exists and the path is fake. And like Mel Robbins always says, that if you don't know what the next couple months are going to look like, it's actually a good sign that you're taking chances, taking risks. Because when you have that certainty, that's when we get stuck and stagnant. So have that voice, totally ignore it. I also got a really unique opportunity at ABC News to come in to do their social and kind of create this kind of corner of the digital team that they hadn't really focused on before, where I was doing like in front of the camera, behind the camera. And when I say create this job, like I went to the woman doing these interviews, and it was a program through USC that turned into a full-time job, and I'm aware of the privilege of that opportunity and the connections from USC, but you can make those connections even if you're not at a place like USC. If you knew the amount of cold emails I send every single day, it's disgusting, okay? And some of the biggest guests you've seen on Toddlers have been cold emails, cold DMs. You never know if you don't ask or try. And no one's going to do it for you. What's the worst thing that could happen? They say no. They say, you're so weird for emailing me. Guess what? No one has ever said that. Ever. And even people have gotten back to me that are bigger than you would even believe and said, not right now, but come back to us in 6 months. Okay, great. That would have never happened if I didn't email. So, as that relates to starting at ABC News, I really said, like, I saw a gap in the company. And I was like, you guys should be doing this, this, and this, and I think I can do it for you, even though I'm 21. And they were like, okay, give it a shot. Because ABC, like many companies, know that they have to invest in the Gen Z attention span and the way we consume media and all these things. So it was right place, right time, but it was strategic. Like, it wasn't just a lucky accident. I didn't look for all the jobs that my peers were looking for. I was like, who's not doing it? And that's where I say, like, get as out of the box as possible. And I know there are certain like tracks and medicine and law. And yeah, that's a little bit different. But look at all the people doing like law on TikTok. And here's what I'll also say about like creating the content. I'm sure your whole feed is like, just post it, just post it, just do it, just post it. And that's where I say, get clear about how you want people to feel when they consume what you create. When you're clear on that, then post whatever the fuck you want, whenever you want. Until then, really get clear on it, because if you're not clear, it might come off as random. Not that my content doesn't come off as like a word vomit salad every day. I moved to New York in July of 2022. The first year of the job is a whirlwind. I am getting so much goddamn external validation. It is like unbelievable. And I'm loving it. And I'm going to a bar on Saturday night. My friends are saying you're crushing it, but I'm not feeling that way. I'm doing it all for show. I'm not feeling fulfilled. I'm not feeling aligned. In the stories I'm telling, I wasn't feeling like I got that deep. That being said, what I said before, I still found the people and the corners of the building to like make it my own and make connections and produce a 30-minute documentary that won awards and lives on Hulu. Like, I didn't just sit there and pout when I started to realize that it wasn't working anymore, because I think that life is about, and being an adult is about making the right choice for right now. That job was an incredible start to my career. Incredible. The connections I made, the ways I learned how to tell and shape a story. And even if your pivot is 10 times bigger or more dramatic than mine, I say great. If you're, in med school and you really want to be an interior designer, you're going to have like cool knowledge about precision that's going to help you design. Like, make it make sense. The resumes where it stands out is where you have some like weird, random, really different thing on there, and they're like, "Oh, you worked at Goop? Oh, you like worked at this bakery? That's, So make it make sense for you. That's how you stand out. The messiness is what makes you attractive as like a person to date, a person to hire, a person to live with, a person to marry. You know what I'm saying? We're now in like the top of 2023. I go to a SoulCycle class in June. I get on my bike, as I do, set it up, meet this girl. Instant feeling I've never felt in my body before. It's called gay panic. Attraction, sparkle, vibration, whatever you want to call it. I felt it. I didn't know what it felt like, but it felt good. And it felt correct. Do the class, get off the bike. Oh my God, that was a good girl. Let's get coffee, whatever. We become like very fast friends, but it was obviously never a friendship. And about 2 months into it, it was very clear that I was developing a crush, a big crush on this girl. And my friends, thank God, bless their souls, thank God for them, helped me through it and helped me process it. And I'm a pretty open gal. So it was kind of silly at the time. Like, we can call this girl Jane. I'm not going to use her real name. So like I would call it like the Jane stuff. Like, I was nowhere near a label or gay or bi or lesbian. And by the end of the summer, so around my 23rd birthday, August of 2023, I sat down across from her at a restaurant in Tribeca. We got pancakes, and I was like, look, this is probably one of the scariest moments of my life, I will say. I said, look, there's something here. There's something deeper here. I was going on dates with guys all summer. I like wasn't wanting to go because I was like texting her the whole time instead. And we got into this whole routine. I would see her all weekend. My friends were like, where have you been? I'm like, I'm hanging out with Jane. We like went on dates that weren't dates, because like we'd hang out in sweaty SoulCycle clothes and be like, do you want to do something in real clothes one time? Anyway, I'm like, hi, this is gay. This is super gay. We are super gay for each other. So I don't want to wake up married to a man at 45 and have to pull like a Glennon Doyle and dip. I mean, the worst case scenario happened. She basically said thanks, but no thanks. She said, I acknowledge it. I can't really do that. Like, I'm not about that. But like, it's like true. And, peace out. And then like was dating a guy like 3 months later. But I lived to tell the tale. And I'm so grateful for her. And I have told her, since I've now been in, 2 relationships with women, I have like literally ran into her at SoulCycle and been like, thank you so much. Like, I literally would have never known without you. And that's what I'm saying too, of flipping the negative into like things don't happen to you, they happen for you. that scenario, as painful as it was, I really hope you've never had your heart broken by a girl, because if you have, it is hell, okay? It's hell. Imagine how much it hurts with a guy. It hurts 10 times more with a girl, I'm telling you, okay? You know, I'm so grateful for it, because now I'm in this beautiful, loving, amazing, healthy relationship. I never would have even known without her. Now, might you ask, Ella, did you know as a girl? Were you this? Were you that? In my like self-work, meditations, therapy, so much I have realized I repressed, honestly, because it was so far down. Whether it was like just hearing, like, just in the world hearing homophobic things. I also think like it is more accepted to be a gay man. I think when a guy comes out to his parents are like, okay. And when a girl comes out, it's like, are you sure? Are you, no, you're just sexual. No, you're just not, you're not dating good enough guys. And that was the experience, not my parents, but just some of the experience that I had. Because I do think we question women's decisions more. And it's tough. It is tough. But what's on the other side of it, I like can't even tell you guys. I've never felt more me in my entire life. Okay? I told you I was a little bit boy crazy. I was obsessed with who was Snapchatting me and texting me. And so much of it was this external validation. And like, do they like me? Do they want me? Do they want my number? Do they ask, are they asking, Emma if like I'm cute or whatever? It was not actually about what I wanted, because I didn't know myself deep enough to know what I wanted. And, there's a reason that my babysitter walked in on me when I was 8 years old looking up girls kissing girls in underwear on YouTube. Okay? Like, that's not a coinky-dink. There's an added layer when I'm someone, like I said, as a kid, I'm wearing bows, I'm wearing pink, it's my favorite color. I also think my parents' generation might see someone who's gay as a specific type or a stereotype or more masculine, which I've like played around with my masculine and feminine side, but I would say at the margin I'm more feminine. I don't like to label anything. But that was kind of a hard thing too, right? Like for them to kind of process that, and I gave them grace in that. And now they're in a good place with it, and they love my girlfriend, and it's great. But it was a journey, and so basically this girl, again, thank God for her, gave me this book, okay, The Artist's Way, that literally changed my life. If you are a creative person, you have to do this journal. Doechii did it. Look where she is now. Like, it will change your fucking life. And you basically journal and figure out what you were like as a kid, what you love to do, and how you can do it now, either for fun or for money. And honestly, we need to normalize having hobbies as a grown-up. Like, we just do, okay? So I started doing The Artist's Way. I really feel like that experience, being rejected by a woman who was, like, my first kind of gay awakening, I was like, okay, Ella, let's do the work. Which, by the way, I was left to, like, figure this all out by myself. I had still never kissed a girl, okay? We never kissed. So I basically then spent a year changing my life. That fall, so a month later, I went to the doctor for my annual checkup. Saw the number on the scale. I was like a little bit surprised. And I went into my gynecologist's office, and she was like, have you ever thought about like a GLP-1 medication? I swear to God, I literally was like, are you talking to me? Like, why would I need a GLP-1? Entertained the conversation, like talked to another doctor about it. Ultimately did it through an endocrinologist, which is like a gut doctor. I've been on it for about 2 years. I'm going to actually be getting off it soon, likely, for my jaw surgery. Best choice I ever made. I personally I can't keep my own secret, so I kind of told everyone. And the truth is, people started to notice my weight loss and would say, you think it's 2025, we've improved. People would swipe up my Instagram story and be like, oh my God, how many days a week are you going to Pilates and SoulCycle? And I was like, babe, it's Manjaro. Let's not play here, Because I didn't want to lie. Because I was like, if I saw someone, everyone has to make their own choice. And I know for most and many people, this is a very like private, personal decision. But it's something that I'm now ready to talk more about. My friend Ale says, like you talked from a wound once it's healed, not when it's open. And I think I've been through this journey now. So if someone were to say something rude about it, it wouldn't really affect me because, like, I know that this little pen has worked for me. And I'm probably going to do another episode that's, like, much more in depth of my GLP-1 journey. But again, you know, I know there are people that'll say it's a cop-out of real weight loss. Not true. I tried everything, and I was so uncomfortable, and it was a health thing. My numbers weren't healthy. I wasn't in a healthy spot, and so this was the right choice for me and my health. And it's also overwhelming too when you do lose weight. Like, the comments and the attention you get, it's a weird thing. But it's just how we're wired, and I hope that by me talking about it, you know, will help at least one person. So the weight is kind of shedding. We're now in the top of 2024. I'm doing the journaling. I'm doing the artist way. I still have not kissed a girl, but I'm thinking about it, and I'm journaling about it, and I'm writing a screenplay about it. More on that in like 2 years, hopefully. And I'm dating guys, and they're great guys, and they're cute guys, and they're smart guys, but it's like not feeling right. And I had lunch with my friend, and I was like, just something's missing. She goes, yeah, they don't have a vagina. I was like, okay, you're right. Maybe I'm bisexual. I don't fucking know, okay? And we get to the spring of 2024, summer 2024. I'm like, it's time. At this point, I'm in like full networking mode, figuring out ABC. I also forgot the genesis of Toddlers, which is like literally the only reason that you want to listen to this. I kissed my first ever girl in the summer, in June, Pride of 2024. And then soon after, I was dating my first girlfriend, like that fall. So it started to feel right immediately. I think what was a little bit confusing is, like, after I dated her, we broke up like a year ago. I did like date a few guys casually. And I think there were people in my life who were like, okay, that was a phase. Like, it was just a phase. And then kind of this summer when I started dating women again, because it was never like guys or girls. It was just like about the person for me. And like now in the relationship I'm in now, in the place I'm in now, like, sure, we can call it lesbian, because I don't think with what I've experienced with Clara, like, I don't think I want to be with a guy again, or anyone else, honestly. But it's a journey, and it's a process, and like, you have to give yourself the grace, even if people in your life want to put you in a box. Like, I'm just me. I'm just Ella. Same with my job. I'm just Ella. I don't have to be ABC News Ella anymore. Speaking of, fall of 2023. I'm losing the weight. I'm journaling about girls. I've been rejected by my gay awakening. And I'm going to Trader Joe's with a friend who says to me, we're like bitching about having to meal prep. And she's like, well, you know, we're all just taller toddlers. And I was like, that's it. That's it. That's elevate. I'm going to help you elevate your experience of being a grown-up by talking about the really unsexy parts of it. Hello? Done. Done. Let's have playdates. Let's hang out. Let's hold on to juice boxes, because it's not that deep. Shout out Dana Joy. So I started iterating on that, but then I was like, how can I do this while I'm at ABC? Like, it's a conflict of interest. It's not going to work. I'm not going to be able to monetize. I had a saint of a boss who basically was like, I'll look the other way and just start posting, and don't swear, and don't get me in trouble. One of the funniest stories that I'll tell you of when I was at ABC, when I was at this really cool bar, and there was a bathroom, and I took a mirror selfie, but I was sitting on the toilet. Like, I don't know what I was thinking, but it was like a cool photo, okay? And I captioned it "Pelfie," like pee selfie. And I got a call 9 a.m. on Sunday morning from the head of ABC News Standards saying to take it down or my career was going to be ruined. And that's when I knew, you guys, that like I had to leave. Like, I was like, I'm being watched like a hawk. That is insane, and I have to go. Bye-bye. But I did it gracefully. I didn't do it in rage. I didn't do it frantically, and I left, like, there are so many people still in that building, one of whom is behind the camera right now, who want to help me, who I want to help them. We have like a mutually beneficial friendship and relationship, and I didn't want any of that to die because I was there for like 3 years. So then it was this figuring out of like, okay, like, well, what's the job gonna be, right? Because I wasn't in a place with toddlers, and I'm still not fully where it can make like me a living. So I was like, okay, flexibility is a non-negotiable. I need to be able to sit at my couch at 10:37 a.m. on a Monday and talk to you guys. And so where that led was to freelance for a really awesome mental health company, freelance for other clients. I've done like certain journalists' social media profiles. And I think that the making of money for content creators is really important to talk about and like be transparent about, because it doesn't happen overnight. Like, it's still, for me, people think I'm full-time toddlers. I am not. I wish I was. I one day will be. And I think I mentioned acting. I meant to mention it, but basically started doing classes again in 2024. The biggest challenge for me with acting, because like I said, from when I was a kid, that was always what I wanted to do. But the biggest challenge was telling actually my coworkers that I was doing it, because I was judging it so much. And anyway, I started doing acting, and that started to feel really like good and aligned. And yeah, and now I work with this amazing TV and film coach. I'm auditioning for stuff. I'm making stuff. And but if you ask me what's it going to look like, Ella, in 2 months, like, I don't fucking know. Honestly, actually, I do know in 2 months I'm probably going to have jaw surgery. But after that, I have no idea. And like, I'm trying to trust that that's a good thing. So I left in April of 2025, which is really when I feel like I started Toddlers. Like, I started the accounts a little bit before that, but I feel like I've really been doing it for like less than a year. And now, we're getting some really awesome peeps to come hang out and have play dates. And I really try to make it not feel like a, cable news interview. Like, I want it to feel like we're just hanging out and talking about substantive shit, which we are. I look back on the first like 5 years of my 20s and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, actually, what the fuck? 5 years ago, I was like an entirely different person. But I'm just now so much more me. And that's all because at the root of it, I listened to gut feelings and inklings. And when I thought there was a there, I did it. And like, I talk to strangers. Like, get your head out of your phone and talk to someone. I was at dinner the other night with Clara, and we met this amazing couple sitting next to us who's like an amazing TV producer on all these procedurals. He was like, send me your resume. That doesn't happen if you don't acknowledge the world around you. But I hope that by you hearing the messiness and the turns and the twists of where the road I've taken to get to where I am now, which is very much, I feel like I'm just starting, that you can know that wherever you are, if you listen and get quiet and listen to your gut and your inner voice, like, you're going to get to wherever you're supposed to be. Because I also believe in life that we all get exactly where we're supposed to go, just not in the way you thought you would. Like, I knew I was going to do a show like this. I knew I was going to create content to some degree and create and act. I didn't really think it would happen, like, in this way. But now it is, and it feels better than what I could have ever planned. And kind of bringing it home, I think the idea that we're all just taller toddlers has really helped me take the pressure off of like knowing what I'm doing all the time, because honestly, nobody does. And the people who like really make a point of telling you that they do really don't. Like, I actually promise you. I hope you went on a walk or something and feel a little bit more grounded, motivated, uplifted, and I'll see you on a playground soon. Cheers. Was that good? I feel like that was like a